Happy New Year, everybody. What's going on? I'm Aslan Giovanni. That is Michael Langston, recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Welcome to our YouTube page. Lower right corner of the screen is a subscribe button. Hit it. It's totally free of charge to subscribe. But they can show some support in other ways as well, Michael. Tell them all about it.
Yeah, hit the like button for us, guys. Certainly, it helps us keep promoting these awesome videos. Certainly, positive news, bad news, good news, whatever news. It's going to be. It helps us promote it and keep things going and keep you in tune to what's going on with FSU football. Recruiting, whatever it takes. It's out there. So hit the like button for us.
Happy New Year. As I said at the top, Florida State started off hot, pulling a recruit, right as the ball was dropping, it seems like. But even before that, Michael, they'd been up to 4 Power 1 transfers because they went and got a kid from another ACC program in Greedy Vance, a guy who had about nearly 40 tackles this past season, well, 33 actually, and 7 PBUs. Where'd this one come from, and what do we know about Greedy Vance?
Oh, we didn't hear a lot about them going after defensive backs, but I think this one was so good that they couldn't pass up. The best. I think the best defensive back on Louisville's team. Certainly a guy that can add a lot to your nickel corner position. They're always. We saw last year they really went out the portal and wanted to address their defensive backs, and I think they wanted to get one more because they were originally the plan was to add another defensive back in high school. They didn't get that. They didn't get the guys they wanted, and certainly with Travis Hunter going elsewhere, you had a need where you wanted to add one more defensive back, and Greedy was very high on the list. We did a story with Greedy. He went into detail about everything. He's very tight with Woodson. He actually wanted to play with Marcus Woodson at Auburn. So I think this was kind of a match made in heaven for both teams. I think he's going to add a lot to that nickel position. I mean, it's a productive DB. We've already seen guys like Jamie Robinson that's made an impact from the portal inside this defense, and I think this is the same type of kid. He could add those kind of same values of making plays, tackling, interceptions, pass breakups. He has more pass breakups, I think, than anybody FSU has on their roster, if I'm not mistaken, with 7. So I think this guy's always around the ball. That's what you want. You want playmakers that are going to help you, and I think this kid's going to help him.
All right. Well, wide receiver, again, that's a position that's been under much scrutiny for Florida State fans, and they've addressed it. We'll obviously see just how productive they can be, but you feel a bit encouraged that they're on the right path there, at least adding Micah Pittman and then Johnny Wilson. And then again, picking up a commitment right as the ball seems to be dropping with Deuce Spann, Michael. That's a guy that you've been keeping tabs on for a while, right?
Yeah, I've known Deuce ever since he was in high school. He actually was recruited by Ron Dugans when he was at Miami. But he's a guy that they really liked as an athlete. Wanted to play quarterback, but it didn't work out that position. He knew he could see the field quicker at wide receiver. Switched to wide receiver. It's the kid that's 6 foot. I mean, it's just a story on him, so that's coming up. He tells me he's 6'4", 210 pounds. Out of high school, this kid ran a 4.340 at a Nike camp, and he's blazing fast. People can watch his film; it's tremendous. This kid is got what they don't have a lot of, which is guys that can get open, separation, speed, and can be a major threat. I think a lot of people want to draw the comparisons to Tamari and Terry, and I see some similarities in their traits because both were coming into college as far as a lot of people know. Say Tamari wasn't a phenomenal route runner. It wasn't like he think he excelled at, but he knew how to get open and he knows how to get separation after the catch. That's kind of what this kid does a lot of. So I could see some similarities of what he does there. I think people are going to like the way he gets separation and speed. And actually, when I talked to him, I asked him about his speed, and he's like, "Well, my speed hasn't changed much, and in fact, I think I've gotten a little faster even with this added weight." So he thinks I'm not going to say he runs a 4.3 still, but I would say it's pretty high up there. This is a kid that's always had breakaway speed, got good vision, he can see things. Tells me when our interview that his hands is the thing that he prides himself the most on, along with that speed. And so I think this is a kid that there's so much high end potential in speed and skill that he's going to add a lot to that wide receiver group. We've talked about this before. You've got different kind of receivers. You got a nightmare matchup with Johnny Wilson with his size, which they don't have a lot of in this offense is size, which they wanted to increase. They got a guy at 6'7". You got Spann at 6'4", and then you got a guy that just catches everything in Micah Pittman, who really excels. But the one thing you hear about all these guys is their hands. So I think FSU wants more playmakers at the receiver position, and they've gone into this portal like I've addressed before the season started that, hey, this is the number one need that we have to get addressed because didn't sign anybody in high school. I think they'll probably sign one high school kid, maybe two. I think one guy we touched on is Cameron Robertson out of Zachary, Louisiana. I think that's the guy kid they're probably going to get, and he'll visit in January. But I think they really want to get some productive guys that they can work with. Not only productive, but they have multiple years. Spann has 3 years, according to him when I talked to him. So I think you get guys that can help you in multiple seasons, and I think that's really the big thing is getting these guys in there, changing the dynamics of what your roster as far as skill set looks like. And I think they've certainly done that in spades with these additions at the wide receiver position.
Indeed. So the portal does remain open, Michael, and you got your ear to it. So any updates will be coming up over on the PRB, I would assume.
Yeah, and there's a lot more. I mean, Chance Main, he's a defensive lineman from Incarnate Word. He's visiting FSU. He told me he's going to be there today. Actually, DM me. I'm on my second flight, Mike. I'm almost there. So he's on his way to FSU. He will be getting there today, probably visiting for 2 days, what I was told. And then another one that they're really high on would be he just entered the portal is the UCF linebacker Tatum Bethune. I want to say that's how you
Yeah.
pronounce his name. He's the leading tackler for UCF. A big time. Would it be a big time addition for that linebacker core? They want to add one linebacker. Has really strong ties to Randy Shannon. Randy Shannon was his position coach. He's recruited him. He also has ties with Sabbath Joseph because Sabbath was at Miami Central. That's where this kid's from. There's so many ties that certainly tie FSU in that, and we know they want linebacker help, and they want one really good linebacker supposed to return to next year. So that's a position they're heavily on, and then we're all waiting with a bated breath to see what Jared Burst, the defensive end, does out of Albany. That's another kid they're extremely high on. Everyone in the country seems to be after that kid. Supposed to decide in the next day or so. I probably think it's going to be either FSU or Tennessee. He's very high on FSU. Highlighted how Jermaine Johnson talked to him. He was the only player that actually talked to him. Austin Cox did a great story as far as reliving that. So I think those are kind of the main ones. I think everyone has the questions about quarterback. I think quarterback right now, there's not a guy they're pushing heavily for yet. So I think that's kind of a wait and see. And I do think they're going to add an elite running back from the portal. I think they're going to get a really good, productive guy, and there'll be a lot to sell because their running back position was one of the best qualities about the FSU offense last year. Ran the ball really well. I think Jayshon Corbin nearly had 1,000 yards. So you're going to be able to attract some very talented running backs. I think that's main the focus. And as I said before this process started, they're going to take 8 to 10 transfers. Could take a little even more of that if they want to. So I think that's kind of, I guess, where they sit as far as the portal goes and what they want to add both in this offense and the defense.
I'm still here. My camera went dead, so that's probably a good way for us to go ahead and wrap things up. As
Okay.
Michael said, Florida State's staying active in the recruiting portal, the transfer portal. All that news will be over on Warchant.com's premium recruiting board. So do check it out as I spring back to life here at the last second. Michael, as always, man, thank you for the knowledge and the information.
Thank you, bud.